Hello and welcome back to the Soviet Union, where hopefully today we finally can end the first turn. It is only 6 videos later. So last time we finished going down the line and set up our entire front line. Um, there's maybe a couple more things I could do at the very bottom here just to reposition some resources. But it's really, really not necessary. We really only have a few divisions we actually have to worry about here, and I'm willing to take the risk. This guy's probably going to get encircled and killed on further review. Is this thing even in? Wow, that's interesting. I thought he might have been out of range. My biggest concerns are the 17th Panzer Division, I think, is going to absolutely run wild. There is nothing here that stops him. A couple airborne corps. I mean, I can't see him even getting slowed down by this stuff. But maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe he'll at least slow down. Now, that stuff is all well and good. We've set it all up to the best of our abilities. We went back through. We looked at all our depots. And the last couple things we want to do are spend the rest of our APs, administrative points, and I also want to go through and change the supply level of anyone who's not in combat to be a little bit lower, so that the support level, rather, not the supply level, maybe the supply level too, but mostly the support level, to push any unneeded support up the chain. So something like this, the 24th Rifle Corps, we're anticipating that they're going to be in combat. So we'll give them what we can give them. Unfortunately, in the northwestern area, it's not much. But I'll give them stuff. And once we get through with all that, let's see. So what's under this 21st Motorized Corps? He goes back up to Stavka. So he might be able to get... He just has those 2 airborne troops. So he could use... Wow. All he's got available to him is artillery. So this is why we need to push things back up, because there's definitely units around that have stuff that they don't need. Like, this guy does not need an engineer, for sure. So we'll try to reset some of that. But the guys that we want to have locked, we will lock right now. So to lock, you just click right there. And one of the problems early on is that you just don't have enough to support even this 3, because 3 means that they get 3 of each type. So if they're on 3, they expect that they're going to get 3 artillery pieces, for example. He's probably good. But a lot of this stuff is going to be sent back anyways. So kind of is what it is. I would actually really love to move this guy further back. I wish I had not moved him down here, to be perfectly honest. Because he's just going to get surrounded. Yeah, I'll drop him back a little bit. But the fastest way to go through and do all these changes is to actually go to the commander's report. And now here, it's going to be a bit of a spreadsheet simulator. I apologize, but that's just how it has to be. So what we are going to do is sort by supply level, and Stavka we're going to put to a 9, and then everyone else we're going to move down to either a 0, or if we think they're going to be in combat, they're going to be locked. So the easiest way to do that is just to remember which ones we wanted locked, the 24th and the 37th Rifle Corps. It's because we think they're going to be in intense combat next term. And then what we can do to all of them, I forget exactly how to do this. Oh, it's this button here. For selected, yeah. So we get, actually, the way we do it is we set the filter to everyone who's on 3, because there's a lot of guys on 3. What the hell? Where'd everyone go? Clear filters. Oh, everyone got set to 0 now. Interesting. What kind of support units can these guys even get? Nothing. Okay, so I think we got that sorted. Except it overwrote what we wanted to do. Okay, whatever. Stavka, you're a 9. And then the 24th. They're probably just easier to find in the map, to be honest. Screw it. Well, we'll search them. '24th Rifle Corps. We'll set them to be -1, I believe, is locked. Yep. And what was the other unit? 37th or something like that? Okay, so that's the 24th. I think the guy down here is 26th Army. I was almost certain that I had another force that I wanted to be 27th, maybe. He's definitely on the weak side. I mean, it would be nice to have the 13th Rifles get some more artillery. Twelfth Army is already a little bit oversubscribed with his units. 37th Rifle Corps. This is it. This is the one that I reassigned. We want this to be locked. Just because we gave him a ton of stuff, we want him to keep that, at least for now. Because this is a pretty strong, and they're going to be facing off the strongest part of the Germans. One of the funny things that I think I want to do is, where was that battle that we won? Because what I kind of want to do is make a list of kind of medals for people that do good stuff. So I think this was the battle that we won. Yes. Okay. So this was the very first victory of our campaign. So I kind of want to save this as a screenshot. And we're going to give Mr. Fedenewski a Hero of the Soviet Union award. We'll keep a list of awards for these guys because this was a huge first victory. Now, I say victory, but realistically, he just barely pushed back a very weak security division. But that doesn't matter. The propaganda people will spin it up so 100 men killed will look like 100,000. And yes, he had 20,000 to 1,600. He should have won handily, and he barely won. It was 12-1 odds, and he barely won. But this is a good example of being able to go back and look at battles, because it's really interesting to see like all of the combat values of everything that participated in the battle. And if you click on the ground combat tab, you can actually see what was doing what, like what it added to the battle. And so if you sort by that stuff, you can kind of get an idea of what parts of your units are powerful and what parts are not. So like for us, it's really our mortars that are doing most of the damage, which of course is pretty historical. And so that's really good. And for the Germans, it's ironically, this Pioneer Squad did all the fighting for them. So that's kind of interesting. But for us, it's definitely our mortars and our artillery that are the kings of the battlefield. So it's kind of cool. I don't know how granular you would want to get if you were playing this a little bit faster, but I like to play the game slow. I like to have fun looking at this stuff. Just it makes it enjoyable. We apparently actually had a little bit of our the anti-aircraft guns. They were under the Southwestern Air Command technically. But it's kind of interesting to see. Oh, the other thing that it tells you is the date and everything on it, and a little bit of detail about the hex. But yeah, it's a really interesting amount of detail you can get out of it. And if it had air combat, it would give you some interesting detail there. But it did not. Although they did manage to lose 5 planes, so we did shoot them down. We even shot 2 planes down with our flak, which is pretty incredible. To be shooting planes down in the middle of a battle. All right. So we got our support levels sorted. We took a gander at the battle to be able to give an award to our lovely troops. Maybe we don't want to look at this battle, but it's incredible that they couldn't at least push this back, even though it's pretty much 1-to-1 odds. I feel like it's such a weak division. And these combats did not go well for us. We were barely able to do anything. But you can see all these previous turns, we really just got absolutely whipped. And this is actually a thing that I might do next turn, is just turn on this mode just to see where the majority of the combat was. Like you can see, if you zoom out a little bit on the map, you can see where all of the heavy fighting happened. We pretty much had this front line. They broke through and that was it. There was nothing behind it. Same down here. Although the line was a little stronger. It was 2 hexes deep. But they pushed 2 hexes back now to like 10 hexes away. So that's how much ground they gained very quickly simply by encircling all this stuff. Because a lot of this combat drove people into the pocket. And same from the north. They were trying to drive people into a pocket. And they never fought the front line area here wasn't really fought over. You can see no battles, in fact, along this line here. There was just no fighting. All the fighting came at the top and the bottom. And most of this was just straight up routing or surrendering. But a lot of these units were pretty much useless anyways. They're just some all these MG artillery battalions. It doesn't matter that we lost them. What matters that we lost is some of these stronger units, like an entire tank division, an entire rifle division. Those are the kind of things that are hard to lose early on. And it really sucks to lose them. But that's just how the war started. We got surprised, and now we have to figure out what to do. So another thing to note about when I have this logistics mode on, yellow means that the lines are heavily used, and green means that they're lightly used, essentially. And then when you get darker than yellow, you got to start worrying. You're probably not going to get great throughput on your freight. So we might have supply problems in this area here, and a little bit in this area here. Now it's orange, so stuff will still get through, but it just might not be enough to make up for it. And that's usually just because you're just got too many troops in one area for the quality of the rail. I'm not going to do any air resupply because, frankly, this pocket's dead. I'm not going to waste time with it. So what I'm going to move to next is to this build new unit menu. And this is something that only the Soviets get to do. And what we're going to do is we're going to queue up a bunch of stuff that we really badly need. And what we most badly need are rifle divisions. We really need several rifle divisions. So we'll build 2. Wow, it won't even let me build 2. How much is 1? 8 AP. Okay, so we'll build a rifle division. What else could we build? We could use some AA. Because we have a bit of a shortfall of that. We could use some core level artillery. Going to build a bunch of these machine gun battalions. And we'll build... So that has 24 howitz, 24 ML20s, which is kind of the king of the battlefield. This is probably my favorite gun in World War II, the ML20. It's actually a World War I gun, but it was just everywhere. It was so widely used, and it really does incredible amounts of work. And that's kind of what we need a lot of. So with our remaining 7 points, I think I might put in all 7 into it. Now we'll do one last save, and this will be the end turn. Just in case something breaks. And then we're going to end our turn. So now what happens is every turn starts with the logistics phase. And you can see all these little items that are getting run down. The Nazis go first. They always go first. And the logistics phase does all of this stuff that the computer does for you. So it carries out a lot of actions automatically. You don't have to do anything to do them. It moves around freight. It rebuilds units. It upgrades units. And all of that stuff you don't even have to touch. It brings in reinforcements. None of that stuff is done manually. You kind of give the computer your priorities, what you want to be done, and it tries to do them. So what it's doing right here on this step is it's trying to move freight to the armies from the depots. So the way logistics work in this game is that you have a supply hub that starts at your capital, and then that supply gets moved out, and it'll follow down the numbers. So depending on your number, that determines how much supply gets left over. And so the higher the number, the more supply gets left there at the rail yard. And that's basically the way you want to manage your supply. So 4s get the most supply, and 1s get the least. So you can see the way that the Nazis have their depots set. Everything right along the line was set to a 4. One layer back is set to a 3. So these 4 here are 3s. And then pretty much everything else is a 1. And that way supply is flowing from Berlin to the front lines. Now for the scary part, the combat. So right now we're just going through. They're just smacking the hell out of our pocket, just as expected. Held. Heroes. These are all the guys we couldn't move around. They were locked. But the southern front activates on turn 2. If they had made it to that little triangle, there's a little triangle just a little bit south of Lvov. And if they make it to that triangle on turn 1, the southern front activates on turn 1. But I don't, it's really hard to make it there. I tried, and I tried restarting a few times as the Nazis just to see if I could do it. And it's hard. It's a long way. You could probably do it if you get lucky, maybe, with the retreat paths of the enemy, but I don't know. So that on our turn, the Nazis did not make it to that triangle. The southern front did not activate, so neither side can move it. But on turn 2, it automatically activates. And historically, the southern front did take longer to get rolling because the Romanians and the Germans weren't working all that effectively together initially. Oh man, that's the stuff you hate to see. Those useless, absolutely useless. Exactly what we were worried about. This area here. They just immediately exploited it. And there was nothing we could put there. That was what was so frustrating about that area. So we'll have to find something. Bring something in from Siberia. Deal with it. See where else they blast through. Hopefully that's it. I doubt it. Okay. Alright, that might not be that bad. So this is a little bit of a pocket, but I think that they can escape. I don't know what's there. Pretty sure I pulled everything back to this river line. So it might just be a couple units. But that's fine. We can just reorganize this. This is the front line here. We know we've got a pretty strong front line near Smolensk. And we knew they were coming right up this way. Towards Smolensk. So that's not a big surprise. Now they're just cleaning up the Minsk pocket. And that's just textbook, you know. When you have a pocket like that, you want to clean it up quick and you want to split it into smaller pockets. So that's exactly what they did. Okay, so these mountain divisions here that are getting knocked back, we fully expected that. Oof. Surrendered. That's stuff you don't like to see. Surrendered is the worst of the outcomes for us. And it's those tank divisions that we were worried about, that particularly the full strength tank division. That one just did absolute work on us. But you see, they didn't break through. Yeah, we lost men, but they did not break through. And so we're just going to have to throw more men into the breach if we can get them up there. That's the tricky part. Oh my God. So good. just keep hitting us so hard. I like to see those plane losses, though. That's good. Every plane we shoot down now is one that's not going to be bombing Moscow. But goddamn. I didn't expect that to break through quite so badly. I mean, this stuff I expect all of this to get destroyed. Held. What a bunch of heroes. Oh my god, held again. A third time? Yes. Okay, those guys are up for a Hero of the Soviet Union award. And the reason they're holding out is because they're just facing off against some security, not even divisions, like brigades, really. Yeah, they're fighting to the last man. I'll give them that. It's so tough to watch these early turns where you just lose 250,000 men. And I feel like we did a good job of setting things up. Maybe I'm just an idiot, but I felt like we were well set up. Apparently not. It's just so hard to prepare for these units that can just smash through you and then travel so far. Like what happened up here, this is like they break through 1 hex and they make it 5 hexes. Even through pretty rough terrain. Well, we'll see what happens this turn. I have a feeling that we might be able to get a little bit of a fix done here. Maybe counterattack just to buy us some time to fix the line. That'll be one of our goals. We might use some air power to do so. We didn't really use any last turn. In fact, I don't think they made it deep enough to even hit our areas that were on ground support, which is exactly what I wanted. I did not want to commit any planes on these early turns because they'll just get shot down. I want to let them face our flak, and then when their numbers have been thinned a little bit and ours have been rebuilt, then we'll start using some air power. But I think we got to use it in this huge salient down here, because this could turn into an absolute disaster for us. Because we have to be able to push this back. Right here in particular. We want to be on this side of the river line holding against them. Worst case scenario, we pull it back to here, but we know we've got a bunch of units here that can do something. Even if it's just about surrounding and and holding them off. So again, we lost another 224,000 men. Now a lot of that again was in the main pocket, in the Minsk pocket. But we lost a fair amount in the south this time, because once that puppy activated, we did lose a good number of troops. I'm just going to quickly read the events, and then that'll be it for the night. But thanks for watching, and we'll get into Turn 2's air war next time. This time we're going to be slightly more active in a couple of places. Not everywhere, because that's not feasible. But just in a couple of places, we want to be a little bit more active. In particular, against this tank division, we want to focus a lot of air power. And in order to do that, we need to scout out the flak situation. I'm not sure if by default we'll be able to see enough of the flak levels to make it safe for our guys. But we know that this guy's got a little bit of flak, and there's nothing else really in the area. So if we can just, sacrifice some planes to just bomb the crap out of this guy and freeze him in place just to buy us a little bit of time, at least then we know that this area will have time to bring in more troops from further back. And that's going to be one of our goals. Another big goal for us is going to be figuring out what is here. Do we need to move up, or are we set up pretty effectively already? Because now that I can see the map, it's not as bad as I thought, at least up there. I thought it was way worse. I thought this penetration here was through units. I don't think it was. Because if you look, there's no battle markers there, so it looks like nothing really happens there. Where we had the fight was exactly where we had prepared for the fight. And so that's okay. I'm willing to accept that we were going to have to fight. And yeah, we took some heavy losses, but they lost tanks. I mean, they ain't getting those back. We lost tanks too. The difference is we can rebuild them. So I'm fine losing tanks. It's just they smashed this one division again and again and again, this 12 tank division. But each time they did lose a little bit of something. And it was actually the last attack where they lost the most tanks. So that's not stuff that they're going to recover necessarily. I would love to see what they lost the most of. Panzer IIs, a little bit of Panzer IIIs. So, I mean, killing the Panzer IIIs is good, because those aren't going to get rebuilt ever. And what did we lose? Some BT-7s, OT-130s, some armored cars, and a few T-34s, 24 of them. So that, I mean, compared to the Axis losses, obviously ours are way worse. But at the same time, we can crank out T-34s literally by the thousands. So we can take more losses. Now, would it be great if we could have killed something more important, like a Stug or a Panzer IV? I don't even know if they had any Panzer IVs yet. Oh, we did have some Panzer IVs in the fight, but they did not get damaged, I don't believe. Yeah, none of them got damaged. But if we had been able to knock out a Panzer IV or a couple of those, that would have been a really good fight. But as it is, it's not a huge deal that we weren't able to do great work there. The important thing is that we slowed them down and they didn't get to do anything important. Now, this is really concerning, this division here. We really want to try to somehow slow them down. I'm just shocked at, I mean, I even kind of knew that these guys were here, but it's still almost shocking to see just how many they can flood in a single move, a single turn. All from really one or two victories. It's not like we lost on every front. There's just a couple of small wins by them that really screwed us over. So that's what we'll look at next time. We'll look at trying to fix this area here. All these friggin' tank divisions. We're going to have to use some air power on them. The good news is that we didn't get a breakthrough here, which is I was a little worried about, but I was pretty confident that there was only an infantry division there and that we could hold. And the other good area that we didn't have a breakthrough because they didn't make it to us yet was over here near our Smolensk line. Now we definitely got to take a look at the Smolensk area because I'm thinking that the supply is not quite working here. And we're going to have to dive into the supply structure and who got supply and who didn't and why they didn't. But that's kind of a job for next time. Now, as for these breakthroughs, these are tank divisions for sure, just judging on how freaking far they went. And they are scary. There is nothing back here. We really need to bring an army down from somewhere. But we don't have anything. I mean, we just got to rail stuff up here, essentially. Like, we were already in the process of moving these units up here. But they're going to be badly needed ASAP. What was this combat? Rifle division against a Panzer division. So we know that there's a Panzer division here. Did we kill anything good? Oh, two Panzer IVs. Nice. It's always good to see. A couple Panzer IIs damaged. Yeah, I love to see that. 2 destroyed Panzer IV OSFs. That's wonderful. So even in retreat, the value of this rifle division was huge. And we'll only be getting stronger. You know, as we pull back, we'll get a chance to get stronger. We'll get more fortified positions, but it's going to be a headlong retreat. There's no doubt about it. They're strong, and while they get weaker as they get tired out and used up, they recover faster than us. Their generals are better than us, so they roll better. And there's really just nothing that we are better at in the early part of the war. But you got to take solace in the fact that they are having to actually work to kill us. We're not just letting them. And so every Panzer III we damage, every Panzer IV we knock out is a real big victory, in my opinion. So even though there's a lot to be sad about in this turn from just losing massive amounts of men, I can actually be happy with the fact that for the most part we held out pretty well. It's really two areas where we got to be worried about. Just in this southern little salient here and this northern one. We're still okay near Smolensk, and we're still okay in the center. So what we're going to be doing is just, we're going to give ground here just to get to more defensive positions. And we're going to try to tighten it up around where we know the tank divisions are. because the tank divisions are the ones that are going to screw us. So we're going to throw a lot of men at the tank divisions, and the infantry divisions we'll let them march. Yeah, it's a long walk to Moscow, and they've got to walk. The tanks are the scary part because they can drive. All right, well, that's all from here. We'll save this up, and we'll see you next time, hopefully. I'll save it as the air turn, even though it's going to be a long air turn probably for us, a lot to do. So see you next time.